something that says how to use Hopper for airfares. I am Russ Eanes, your guy from Harrisonburg, Virginia. I think I know Gene and certainly know Clark. And I know a bunch of you that are out in the live studio as well, admitting Kim to the class. I love participation. So please today ask questions. I'll frequently ask and say, hey, stop and say, anybody got a question? You can also put your questions in the chat. That's a very good way to record your question. And also you can do a virtual hand raise. Hey, Russ, I got a question. So any of those ways you can participate. You'll get a short email at the end, not tons about Hopper in it because it's mostly a demo class, but you will get my email address, rustyguy@getsetup.io, so you can contact me if you have ideas for classes or feedback on the class. I really appreciate that. Let's start in here. Our objective, we're going to learn what Hopper is and how it differs from other reservation apps. And this is important because I wouldn't show you something that was just like anything else, because there's lots of ways to find airline, tickets, good or bad prices on flights. I did a class the other day. Actually, I think since I've been back, I've done 2 classes on, let's check my calendar. Last week I did tips and tricks for booking classes, for booking flights online. And then that was Tuesday. Wednesday, I did a class on using Google Flights. Those are a lot of what I know about booking flights come from these 3 things. But, I'll tell you, there's still stuff I don't know. I'm always surprised about things that I learn each week. I actually just booked a flight to Italy again over the weekend, and discovered some things that I didn't know. So anyhow, this is a vast field, but we'll talk about what Hopper is. I'll give you a demonstration, and then I'll show you how to save your flight searches when you're doing Hopper. What is Hopper? How is it used? I will sum it up this way. It is a mobile-only airline search engine, and you can book. So it's technically an online travel agency. What is the difference? Online travel agencies allow you to search for flights, cars, hotels, cruises, all sorts of things, and book. A search engine like Google Flights allows you to search. Doesn't book you directly. They send you somewhere else to book. Hopper wants you to book through their app. All right, let's just remember that Hopper wants you to book through their app. That's an important distinction, because that's an option you have to consider. I personally only book through airlines. That's because if there is any issue or problem with the flight, I'm in the hands of the airline to solve it, and they will solve it. If I book through some third party, the airline can push me back to the third party and say, hey, sorry, you got to go back to Hopper. You got to go back to Orbitz, whatever, to fix your airline reservation. That can't happen. So that's my philosophy of how I book flights, only using the airlines when possible. Now, Hopper, so it's an online travel agency, but it's only mobile. Remember that it's only mobile. You can't use it on your desktop, on your laptop, though they do have a site you can go to. I think you can reserve hotels, or at least search for hotels on it. But its main tool it's the tool that people use Hopper for the most is airline reservations. I've been watching and using Hopper for maybe 7 years. It started when I read an article about finding how to, pick flights, and I found out that Hopper was this was before they were even allowing anyone before they had an app, before they were booking or anything like this. They were just an interesting kind of search engine, and they had a unique algorithm that caught everyone's attention. And in the beginning, they were just kind of an information place, and they would tell you, what were the best flights to go to certain places, or when were the best times, and when was the best time to buy a ticket. This is the important detail. When was the best time to fly a ticket? All online travel agencies, all search engines do the same thing. They go out and they find the information that's out there, posted by the airlines on the internet. They scrape it and they pull it together and they present it to you. That's why you rarely find any difference between them. The only time you might find difference is maybe they're offering, $10 off or $20 off if you use their site, which can be worth it if you want it. You can also bundle typically cars or hotels with an airline flight through an online travel agency. But otherwise, they're all just finding the same information. And remember, of course, some airlines do not share that information. So for example, if you want to use Southwest, good airline, you won't get it on a search engine. They don't put their information out there to be compared with everyone else. It's worth searching and checking out Southwest if you want to fly somewhere domestically. What Hopper does, what's unique about them, is their ability to predict and to tell you to buy a ticket or wait. Hopper doesn't just go out and find the information. They have an algorithm where they can predict whether the airline will raise or lower the price of the ticket in the future. Okay. So we all know there's several things that determine the price of a flight: the time you travel, the season of the year, the month, the day, and that can determine the price of the ticket, and also when you actually book the ticket. So airlines can raise and lower the prices. If they haven't got enough traffic, they'll lower the to their sites. They'll lower the prices to entice people to buy. And then they'll raise it when there's too much demand. So it's a very dynamic process up until the time that you fly. Hopper has a way of predicting based on searching and other things whether the airline will raise or lower the price. And as I show you that, you'll see that's the key. Google Flights is very good at looking at the prices that you can see today of a flight in the future. Google Flights can tell you whether that is a high or low, than a higher or lower than average. They won't tell you whether to buy it or not. Hopper will. Hopper will say wait, which means the price will drop, or Hopper will say buy. In other words, the price is not going to go down. That's the key thing that I use it for. And we'll get into the demo here right now, and you'll understand this. Let me just say a few more things just to clarify. This is in your notes, so you remember this. Hopper is strictly a mobile app. It works on Android or iPhone. Best used for flight price notifications. I don't book through it, but I use it because it notifies me every day, whether I should, on a flight that I've been looking at. They have a unique algorithm to predict prices. By the way, you can freeze a fare for a limited time period. So let's say you suddenly see, like I'm use Washington, D.C. Suddenly the price of a flight to Dublin has dropped. Oh, I'm not sure I want to take that or not, but boy, there's a good price right now. I can freeze the price. They can freeze the fare. It costs you that for a limited time period. And then, of course, you have to book it through them, which is a key point. And so just remember that. And they send you notifications to your phone. So every day I get a notification from Hopper. So let me share my screen with my phone, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Again, before I go into a demonstration, any questions? Kim, Lorraine, Jean, anyone Tracy asked. Tracy just said that she'd never heard of it before, and I'm not surprised. A lot of people haven't heard of Hopper. Anybody in the lobby got a question? I'm gonna start the demo. You'll probably have more questions once I start the demo. Okay, let me share my phone screen with you again. Okay, here's the Hopper app. They come up, they're going to show me. Okay, they're fetching the latest price. I've been watching the price of a flight to Portland for several months. It's a flight in September. And you'll notice here, I can get 2% cash back on every flight booking. Okay, I don't need Oops, went away. Come back. I don't need Carat Cash. Okay, right now it's telling me the lowest price is $719 per traveler. That's a lot for a round trip flight from Washington to Portland. Obviously, I'm not going to take that. You'll notice here's like, I'll show you more about the screen, but right here, I've got this little thing that says I'm watching it, a little check. I'm going to uncheck that because I'm going to stop watching that. All right. I'm not going to watch now. If I want to watch it again, I'd have to press that, but let's go to the Hopper interface, introducing Hopper hotels. Okay. This is what you see when you come to Hopper. You can search for flights, cars, hotels, or homes. I think those are rental homes, not homes to buy. I don't use these other features right now. I don't rent cars anymore, and I have a different way of looking for lodging. But it is really valuable, and what most people use it for is flights. Okay, so if I press on flights, I get this, and they've got, okay, you want one traveler. Where do you want to go? All right. So for some reason, it's got me from New York City. I'm going to X that out. I'm going to go from, let's say, Washington, D.C. So you can see down here, it's got some airports I've chosen recently. I'm going to click on Washington, D.C. And let's look at Portland again, but let's look at a different time of year. And so as soon as I hit Washington to Portland, what it popped up was this calendar. All right. And this is the way the Hopper calendar looks. It's color coded. You can see the different months, different days, all of different colors. And here's the way it works. If so, the lower price, which are $350, that's green. You can see those are off in here. Amber are $500 plus. Orange, deep orange is $650 and red is $800. So right now it's pretty darn expensive to try to go to Portland anytime between now and looks like early August. The prices start to drop and into September, all of which is a surprise because I just saw the price for a flight to September that was pretty expensive. I think it's because it was looking at a very specific airline and price. So I'm like, okay, well, this actually looks pretty good. So I base this on my color coding. When would I like to go? I'd like to fly on a Thursday and come back on a Tuesday. So I'm going to look into September. I'm going to click on the calendar for September. All right. So as soon as I hit September, it pulled up more dates. And let's say I want to go, the 22nd and come back the 27th. All right. Select these dates is what it is right there. So I press down here on select these dates. And now the little Hopper bunny goes out and searches for my fare. So this is kind of the heart of what you do with Hopper. You have to be specific because it doesn't tell you exactly what it is on any given day, like Google Flights does. So $413 per traveler. All right. Now, here's the cool thing that you can do with Hopper if you have something like Google Flights. You can use Google Flights to kind of find the optimum time when you want to travel, or maybe even some optimal dates, days of the week to travel. And then you can go to Hopper and you can actually put that exact search on here, and it will give you this daily notification. All right. So right now it's telling me the lowest price it's found is $413 per traveler. All right, that is, they're knocking $10 off because if you book through them, they'll give you $10 off per person per ticket, or $10 off, yeah, per person per ticket. I don't want to book with them. Okay, so that's the price up here that I'm looking at. Now, I can watch it with a travel buddy. So if I press on this, I can then send the notification, like it'll send a text to my wife, and then she can go, oh, I want to keep an eye on that too. Or I can just press watch this trip. Okay, so if I hit watch this trip, I press that. Now it tells me I'm watching that trip. Now it's going to send me daily notifications on that flight. So that's what you see there. Now, what's really important, I'm going to scroll down the screen, past all this stuff about Save More and Hopper. You have to dig a little bit deep. Here's a little important notification. Watch nonstop only. If I want nonstop flights, it's going to cost me, it says here, $205 more. So that's a good thing to know. That's putting the price up into the 600s. And here's an interesting thing. Now, this is what I'm looking for, is my price prediction. It says prices will vary over the next 4 months, dropping as low as $297, which is a saving of $130. At September 3rd to 16th, prices will probably rise about $34 after September 3rd, and then very close to the time to fly, they're going to go up extra $180. So that's my price prediction. What Popper's going to do probably is to tell me to wait on this, but we'll get there in 1 second. I just want to point out at the bottom, I can press on price freeze. So if I want to pay for $28 to hold that fare, I can do that. But remember, I'm then obligated to book it through Hopper. So just remember that price freeze doesn't allow you to do anything else. Okay, so then the other thing that's important is this right down here. I'm about to view flights. Okay, I'm going to press on that in a second. So it's giving me a price, but I don't know what airline. I don't know what time of day. I don't know anything about it. But what's important is right here is it's saying wait. All right. And I want y'all to notice that because that is the really important thing. That's what I'm looking for. It's telling me there's $413 right now, but it's basically telling me the price is going to go down. So don't book it yet. So just to check the flights, I'm going to hit view flights right there. Okay. And here are my options. For $413, the cheapest flight is a 6 a.m. flight on Delta Basic Economy, one stop flight across the country, 8 hours. That's this one right here. And Hopper says that's the cheapest flight. Okay. So it has a bunch of these designations that it puts on each flight, and it will tell you that. So that's the cheapest. The next one down, which is twice as much, is the best quality. And you can change it for you can change your flight for nothing, $0 to change it. If you just now, what best quality means, I haven't quite figured out because look at this. It's not that much faster of a flight. It's on Delta. Now it's Comfort Plus. This is the Basic Economy, which is the lowest fare price. And this is Comfort Plus. That means there's more leg room. Okay. That's like on United, they call that Economy Plus. Delta calls it Comfort Plus. But curiously, look at this down here. I can get a United Economy flight, which is not the cheapest fare. Remember, that's Basic Economy on United, but it's their economy flight, their next cheapest price. That's a nonstop for $628. That's still a lot. By the way, I'm not going to take it. I don't want to fork out that much money for a trip across the country. But there's some so these are very different things we're looking at here. But this is cheapest. This is best quality. So quality could be, there's a bunch of things that determine what best quality means. And if you click on it, it's got, you can select seats for free on Hopper. You can get an 86 centimeter seat pitch. That means it's more leg room. One carry-on bag and personal item. If you're in Basic Economy up here, you can't select your seat. You do get a carry-on bag. You can pay $30 to check a bag. Of course, if you have a Delta credit card, you don't need to do that. Okay, United is the fastest one, and this one down here with Delta, they call it the best refundable. All right, so if you want to pay $478, which is, if you notice here, $417 to $478, so about $65, you can get a refundable ticket. Warning, a refundable ticket with an airline does not necessarily mean you will get your money back. In fact, it probably means that you'll just get an airline credit. So watch out, read the fine print on a refundable ticket with the airline to find out what they really mean by that. Because if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get the money back that I forked out for that because I need the cash for something else, that may not be what it means. It probably means they're just going to give you credit. Okay. And scrolling down a little farther here, there's some more options. There's an Alaska Airlines Saver ticket. There's a Delta main cabin. There's another Alaska Airlines. Here's another one down here with Delta that you can get the main cabin. These are various prices. But what I find interesting in just searching through these is, of course, for me, I really like nonstop flights. So just for the heck of it, I'm going to hit this, press this one. There's the detail. Okay. And it tells me, so if I want to select it, Okay, it's now selected it. I'm going to leave at 5:45 p.m. Get it 8:24 p.m. That's actually a pretty good deal. That basically I can have the whole day to get up to the airport, and then I can get there still evening time in Portland. So let's say I select that outbound. Now it's going to ask me to select my return. So for the same amount of money, I can get a return flight on United Economy. Again, this is not a red eye flight, which is interesting. It's a leave in the morning, get back in the late afternoon in Washington time, nonstop. That's a pretty good deal. If I want to look at some other options, which I'm not sure totally why I would right now, because that's a pretty good flight, but I can get a little bit later flight on Delta Basic Economy with one stop. If you select that, you're now flying at two different airlines, but flying each way on one of the airlines, so it doesn't really matter. Again, I'm not sure why I choose that, because I already had, for less money, a United nonstop. So if I click on this one here, I can select that one. So I've selected that. Now it pulls up. So this is my return. So I select this return. Okay. So now that I've got this is my whole ticket. I can freeze the price. I can continue on to book it. I'm not going to do that, but well, just for the heck, I'll press it. This is what it does next. Okay. And it's giving me down here, it's giving me an option to spend $34 for trip protection. I say no, thanks. Okay. So, these are some other detail. Cancel for any reason provided by Hopper. That's for $94. I can add that. That allows you to cancel for any reason. Again, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to go back because I'm going to stop. So I'm not going to dig. I'm not going to get myself any deeper into this. So now I'm watching this flight. So that's the important thing to know. I'm watching it, and I'm going to get a daily notification about that flight from Hopper. That's the basic how Hopper works. The important detail, of course, is down there. Is that it tells me whether to buy or not. Now, if I go to my home screen in Hopper, they're telling me I got $50 credit with them. Again, I'm not going to use this because unless I don't know, I suppose I could rent a car or something with them, but I don't use them to reserve a flight. But down here, they're now telling me these are my flight watches. All right. Washington, D.C. to Portland, September 22 to September 27. And it says, wait. Now, let me tell you how I've used Hopper in the past. And then after that, I'm going to invite one of you to just give me an itinerary we'll search for. But I'll give an example how I used Hopper last year. My wife and I knew we were going to Mexico sometime between Christmas and the New Year's because we were going to our daughter's wedding celebration and we needed to fly down and back. We wanted a round trip ticket. We knew we could fly in and out of Guadalajara. We could fly in and out of León Airport. We could fly in and out of Querétaro Airport. We could fly in and out of Mexico City. We had 4 airports we could fly in and out of from Washington. And we didn't know exactly what would be the best day or what would be the best deal. So I went on to Google Flights and I checked all those airports and I found that around the time we wanted to fly, probably the best date was something like December 27th because I wasn't going to fly out on Christmas Day. That would have been the cheapest. I wasn't going to fly out the day after Christmas. That's one of the most expensive. And the closer I get to New Year's, like on the 29th, 28th, something like that, then the more expensive it might get. Let's go back to there we go. Let's see. Now I lost my screen share. Let's go back to sharing my screen. With that, give me 1 second here. It's a new phone, and I always stumble accidentally onto screen sharing, and not giving me an option to do that. 1 second here. Okay. So because I had 4 airports, I selected the same day to fly down and return from all those different airports. And then I put all 4 of those flights into Hopper. So Washington to Querétaro, Washington to León, Washington to Guadalajara, Washington to Mexico City. Months before I needed to fly, I did this in early August. I put them all into Hopper. And every day, it was a lot of notifications coming to my phone, I admit that. But it was useful because I tracked the flights for about 3 weeks. You can always just dismiss or ignore flight watches if you want. But so I had this thing right here. And then one day it popped up and it said, buy. We don't think you're going to get a better price. So I went in and I selected my flight. It turned out I selected a combination of those. I flew into Guadalajara and home from León Airport because León is very close to Guanajuato, the city of Guanajuato where I was staying. So that was very useful. And that's how I used Hopper to notify me when they thought that the price wasn't going to get any better. And actually, we got a pretty decent price on a flight. So I also used it. Another time I remember using it was about 4 years ago. Actually, the first time my wife and I were preparing to fly to Italy, I put in that I wanted to go in September. And like this was like 8 months. This is January. I put in watch a flight for September. That's way too far out to get a good price because airlines usually keep the prices pretty high. Well, all of a sudden, what happened to me in early September, in late January, I got a notification that I lost my screen share again. I got a notification that there was a really bargain price on a flight. This was in January, notifying me there's a bargain price in September. What happened was Alitalia had just entered the market with direct flights from Washington to Rome. And this is something that happens with airlines when they have a new flight, a new itinerary, hasn't been on the books, they'll put sales on right away. So they want people to jump out and buy the tickets right away. So I got a notification from Hopper. Your price to Rome is I think it's $550. It said buy it. And I actually used airline miles to get it. But the point is, Hopper notified me about something way in advance of when I thought it would. So that's why Hopper is really a good thing to use. Those are how I've used Hopper. Again, I don't book through Hopper. And I've got a couple questions here in the lounge. So let me come to those here in 1 second. But let me first get back my screen share. Let's see. Screen share on the bottom. Let's see here. There we are. Make sure you can see my screen. Okay. So you should be able to see Hopper again now. All right, we're back to Hopper. And let me answer some of your questions. D says you couldn't figure it out. Well, I hope you can figure it out here. Ivy asked, I see in the lounge, if I choose hold at Hopper, how long can they hold it for? They'll tell you. Okay. So if you want to hold a price, it'll say hold for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. They'll tell you how long it is. Don't worry. If you have time, can you go from San Francisco to Boston in September? Plan to go to Maine to look at red? Sure. Let's look at that. And by the way, the best time to look at the colors in Maine is October. Okay, so let's go back to Hopper here, and let's put in Ivy's question. So I'm going to put in flight. I'm going to X out Washington. I'm going to put in San Francisco. Okay, San Francisco, SFO. We're going to put to Boston. Those are major airports. All right. And here it's showing me the prices of flights. So I would recommend you go in October, and you notice that October is very green. Looking here at the key at the top, those are $250 plus. Amber is $350, orange is $450, and red is $550. So let's go down here to October, and let's pick if you want to see the colors in Maine, I'll put down 1 week starting on the 12th of October and returning on the 19th. We'll see how those dates are. Now the Hopper Bunny is going to go. You always get this little hopper when it's searching for flights. And sometimes he takes longer than others to search for flights. Every time you go search, you get the hop. Okay, so $280. Wow, that is a very cheap round trip cross-country flight. And I'm not going to watch this one right here, but down here's here's our price prediction until September 11th. Prices will vary over the next 4 months, dropping as low as $245. Starting in September, they're going to rise about 25. That means above what they are now. And at closer to the date, they'll go up quite a bit. Okay, so if you do this price freeze down here, that's what it is at the bottom. When you freeze it, it'll tell you how long that price freeze is for. And note down here, it says wait. So that's incredible that even though the price is only $280 right now, it's saying wait. Let's hit view flights because let's see what kind of options we have. And I'm noting here that for 280, Delta Basic Economy, that's their lowest ticketed price, has got a nonstop for $280. That is incredible. Wow. Because you notice down here for another $100, United also has a nonstop. However, look here, if you want to take a red eye and travel for a long time. Well, let's see. That's not that red eye. They've got a $289 red flight. So really between these two, the cheapest and this one down here that's nonstop is just $9. That leaves earlier in the evening. This one leaves at 8:45 p.m., so a little bit later in the evening. United Basic Economy, and this is United Economy. This is United Basic Economy. So you're paying a little bit more for the economy flight. Economy and Basic Economy in United, the difference is whether you can is whether you can choose your seat, whether you can take a carry-on, this kind of thing. Unless you have a United credit card. If you have a United credit card, you can get priority boarding and you can choose your seat. Okay, so looking at this, these are various options. Those are actually pretty good. If you're going to fly from the West Coast to the East Coast, it really comes down to whether you want to be on a red eye or not. So let's say I think I don't want to do the red eye. So we're going to choose the Delta right there. So I hit that one. I select it. I've pressed it. Now it's going to it's selected that outbound. So as soon as I select that one, it's now going to give me my return flight. And United's got a Basic Economy for $280. That's also nonstop. The Delta is that one right there. And I'm going to choose that because why not? We'll fly in the same airline, earn some miles on the same airline. Okay, so here's the options now that I've selected this at the bottom. I can continue on to book it by hitting the $280. I can freeze the price. Okay, I'm not going to do that because, I'm not going to take that flight, but that's how it works. If you say, watch this, okay, you'll get a daily notification from Hopper about your flight. And if you watch it, it'll tell you, it might say, book it. In other words, we saw Hopper predicted the flight price would drop to $245. So you might wait and see if it drops below 280, or you could say, hey, 280 is worth it for me. I'm not going to worry about that extra $35 that it might drop down to. I'm going to book it now. Hopper is not perfect. Hopper has not always predicted correctly for me. I've used it in the past and it said, wait to book a flight because the price is going to drop, and the price didn't drop. But overall, it is pretty accurate. It's not perfect. Questions about what I've shown you so far?
I have a question. Are we talking about prices that are round trip, or each one of these prices is one way?
Round trip.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So I know it's a little confusing when you work with two different airlines. It appears as though you're paying that each way, and you would probably have to dig into the details to see what it would charge you. Remember, that's what Hopper is going to charge you if you book it through them. This is the one catch. Like I told you, I use Hopper in conjunction with other things because I use it for notification service. So what I would do then is I would have Hopper tell me that the United, for example, the Delta flight or the United flight's the best one. I would then go into that airline because I booked through the airlines. I used both Delta and United, and I would then book it through them with the one with the itinerary that Hopper had shown me. If you use Google Flights to also search, Google Flights will just take you directly to the airline to book it. You don't have, and it has the whole flight there for you. You don't have to go and recreate it. Good question. More questions. Yeah, let's see. Where's the calendar to find out when the best time is to see red leaves? You'd have to sort of find, you'd have to do a little research on Maine. I have a son that lives there, and so I've been up there year round. I've been there in different months, and I know from experience that the best time to see leaves in Maine is to go in October, in the later October. Sometime around the middle of the month is the best time. I've lived in the East Coast most of my life and have lived up anywhere from New England down to Pennsylvania. And I can tell you now that the colors can vary for over 2 weeks. It really depends on the temperatures and it depends on dryness. Actually, what makes the colors change in leaves is daylight. So the less daylight there is, the less the chlorophyll switches on. Eventually the chlorophyll switches off. However, temperatures and the amount of moisture affect that. So a dry season can make the colors less vivid and can also dry out the leaves. And so they might start turning a little bit earlier. Same thing with temperatures can make the leaves turn a little bit earlier or stretch out a little bit longer. Ivy asks, also, I missed the first part of the class. Is Hopper only on sale? Hopper is only a mobile device, only a mobile device. It's not on anything else. You can't book a flight, at least last I checked, on a desktop. And there's no fee to use it. It's a free app to put on your phone, and there's no fee to use it. However, if you book through them, remember you've booked through them as a third party.
You are saying consistently that it's only on the phone, but last night I went to a website and it asked me if I, where I wanted to go, my destination, that kind of thing. I didn't pursue it, but you can get it on the desktop.
Well, let's check. That's a good question. I haven't checked that recently. Let's just go. Let me stop this and let's go to the desktop version, because last I checked, they weren't doing it. But it's been about 6 weeks since I've done this class, and they could have changed that. So let me do a screen share here, and let's go over here, and let's just put in Hopper and see if they've come up with a desktop version. Okay. They've got a honeymooner sale coming. I'm not sure what the point. Right now, it looks like the only thing you can book on the desktop is hotels. They mostly are pushing you to get the app. Send app to your phone. Basically, they want you to use the app on the phone. So looks like, let's just check on, oh, these are all things you can do. So you, besides careers, so you let's say you do want to stay in Boston. Let's say Ivy wants to come out and stay in Boston and wants to go in October. Oops, I went a little too far. Let's say the 13th through the 18th. You can search for hotels. You can't, apparently you can't do car rentals. And it's not cheap, but that depends where in the area you're staying in Boston. Okay, so that takes care of that question. Yeah, there's still only Lorraine asks, so Hopper is good for research only. Well, you can book it. Okay, you can book. I always advise people to, and I think a lot of travel experts tell you this as well. They always advise your best deal is to book through the airline. That is the best guarantee to get good customer service in the event of a problem. And a good customer service can be, for example, at that flight I told you about taking to Mexico. It was to fly out on December 29th at like 6 a.m. So my wife and I drove on the 28th, the evening before, to the airport. We were going to park our car at a hotel, stay at the hotel overnight, get a shuttle real early the next morning. By staying at the hotel, I got a week's free parking. And then, I didn't have to get up in the middle of the night to drive because I'm 4 hours from Dulles Airport. Didn't have to drive to the airport in the middle of the night. And but while we were driving to the airport about 6 o'clock the evening, like 12 hours before our flight, I got a notification on text, your flight's canceled. And they said, right then, they said, well, you can go online or you can call United to rebook. And at that point, we were less than an hour from the airport. I said, we're just going to drive straight to the airport. I'll go to the desk and had, the ticketing desk and have somebody help me out, which is what I did. So then I didn't have to worry about it. If I booked it through some other airline, through some third party, I might have been, I would have had a canceled flight, but I may have had to go through Hopper or someone else to get help. Okay, so Tim says he went to Acadia in Maine, October 10th. The leaves were at their peak. Okay, very good. Sharon, Sharon's also saying, let's click on this link she gives here. Again, I don't think there's any option but to get Hopper for flight notification to search for flights and options other than your phone. Again, I'll search here. They want you to use the app for flights. Any more comments, questions? We got a couple minutes here. I'm glad to answer any. Anyone in the lounge have a comment or a question? I really advise you to use it and play with it and use it for its notification. Like I said, that's when I've gotten good deals. That's when I've been alerted. And it works best if you know your dates. So let's say you're thinking, hey, I want to go to San Francisco from New York in October. And you've got a wide range of dates. You could go out and you could search on Google Flights, and Google Flights will probably tell you the best day of the week to fly. And then you can figure out about when in the month you want to go, put those dates into Hopper. Hopper will send you the daily notifications and you'll know when to buy the ticket or not.